Viktor, welcome.
Thanks a lot.
How's things?
Good. Nice guy.
Cool. So today, here for another podcast. Today's topic is speed control. So I think it's quite a good topic to talk about a few different things within skating. Obviously, you're a speed skater. I'm an urban street skater. I suppose for you, what's speed control to you? What does it mean? Where do you use it?
It's tough to define. And to be honest, this podcast topic is probably the one of all the podcasts we've made where I was the least certain where is that going to go? Like, what direction are we going to go at?
Mm-hmm.
In speed skating, I think speed control can be three things. You either want to slow down because you want to stop, whether that's the end of a race, the end of a workout, or if it's more of a downhill, scary safety control thing,
Mm-hmm.
or you want to speed up because, speed skating is about going fast.
True.
But I also think sometimes there's the pacing involved in it. Like, there can be a lot of different scenarios where you don't want to go as fast as you can,
Mm-hmm.
but still want to go fast. Let's say you're on a slippery track or you want to make passes, things like that, where those can be a little more complicated. And that's where you really got to have a good feel for your skates and, your whole body in order to control that speed.
Interesting. Yeah, speed control for me is like, I suppose if I start with like skate parks, speed control for me there is quite simple. Instead of pumping with my legs like I normally do to get speed to generate to go high, sometimes obviously I want to stop, so I want to depump.
Yeah.
And depumping is the opposite to pumping, so then I slow down. And that's how I control my speed on the skate parks. I suppose though, one of the interesting things for me is, say we take speed control to an urban environment with urban skates, recreational skating. The speed control for me starts before you even start skating. It's about the awareness of where you are and what you're doing, because essentially that's why you're going to control your speed, is because there's something there. So if you're somewhere where there's a brick wall 10 foot ahead of you,
it's really based on the surroundings.
That's it. Sure. So do not accelerate towards the wall, as you best make sure you have a really good way of stopping, which is speed control as well. But for beginners, I expect the speed control is more in the surroundings, how you deal with it.
Speed awareness almost.
Precisely.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Speed awareness.
Yeah. So if there's lots of space, you can skate and skate fast, and then you can slow down naturally without being panicking by something in front of you where you got to stop quickly.
Yeah.
That's just one. And obviously to maximize your speed control, if you are in tight spaces and you've got to stop quickly, then you're going to need the tools to stop, i.e. a power slide or a magic slide or something like this. Like in speed skating, marathon or races, like what you do, what happens if you have to stop quickly? What do you guys do?
We try and avoid that. First
Okay.
It is really not a thing that happens that often in speed skating, because most of it is on very, in controlled areas.
Yeah.
Say it's a track workout or a track race, you can just keep on going on that track until you at some point will, stop. So that part is just simply just rolling the speed out.
So your speed control is literally looking at others to make sure if they slow down, you avoid them.
Yeah.
And so you keep your speed to the right level.
It is more when you're out there in a public environment. Like you said, that you got to be more aware of the surroundings. And that's also where you could be forced into a situation where like, oh wow, I really got to be able to control my speed here. Say traffic, or if other skaters crash in front of you, if you're in the middle of the Berlin Marathon, there's a lot of good reasons you would want to either slow down or just be agile enough to hop around the pack.
Yeah, very interesting. So I suppose for me with the speed control, it's obviously when I was a newer skater, my speed control was much worse. It wasn't as good, right? And the more I've progressed and learned these different ways to stop or these different ways to read my environment and stuff, my speed control has become a lot better. So I don't know, would you have any advice for people wanting to train their speed control or their awareness of what they're doing, where they're going, or how fast they're doing, how to stop or how to brake? Like, I don't really know what I mean by that. Do you have any advice for people trying to work on their speed control?
I would say there's a lot of different techniques. I mean, you're aware of a lot of them, how to brake, how to speed down or slow down. But I think the most important thing, which is also probably the hardest to learn, teach, is to just naturally be in control of your skates. Because I think you would agree that all of these things that we would mention, all these tips, advice, the better you are at skating, the more you feel in control, the easier it is to actually execute those.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
And I think one of the easiest ways is just to become unaware of it, but able to do it. So if you play different games in your skates, I grew up playing hockey on inlines. I grew up playing basketball, soccer. If you play soccer on inline, you get used to being in control of your not just speed but skates.
That's a really good point, actually. It's really cool. It's like with kids, when you teach them to skate, if you start throwing balls around and catching them, they start to learn to skate, but without actually thinking about it, which is important because then you'll learn your perceptions, your depths, and obviously your speed as well. Like I said earlier, I think, like you said, like working on your skating so you have more control on your skates and so you can, control your speed better is the optimum level to reach. But I think the preparation as well is all part of it, And like you say, if you can switch it all off, your mind and your body is going to do this automatically. Oh, there's an obstacle, I slow down, or I do this, or I do that. Yeah, it's interesting. So
to apply the different techniques that we would teach people. Like obviously, it's gonna be easy if you have plenty of time to slow down. You can, like I said, we mostly just roll it out. But if it's more of a sudden thing, if there is more of an urgent need to be in control of your speed, I think it has to be very instinctive. Like you must have practiced these things,
yes,
hundreds of times, but you must also be at the point where you're just so in control of your skates that you can, without thinking like, so that's how I put the pressure here, once to break, you must be just like so in control that now you do that.
Yeah, so it's like learning your surroundings so you don't put the wrong speed in the wrong places, and then knowing your skill level as well. Because if you are super good and you're able to stop in an instant, then you can go stop. But know your skill level, right? Don't be trying to hammer down a road and stop 1 foot before a car and not knowing that you can stop, because obviously you might stop by hitting the back of a car, and we don't want that.
I feel like I'm pretty in control of my skates, but I also see you do stuff where like, wow, I would not be like, you can stop within a meter, or for me that would be impossible. Like, so I do think even if you're good at controlling, you still need to be able to, you still need to know the different kinds of slowing down.
Yeah, for sure, because you probably experience it different with speed control than what I do, because you get up to speed and you maintain it for a long period of time, where that's almost impossible for me.
It's a pretty unfair thing that I go faster and also you're better at at slowing down.
I feel like you need some of the slowing down skills, but like you said, in marathon skating there's no abrupt stop normally, right? You roll to a stop, and I think that's kind of what I was talking about with knowing your surroundings and stuff like this is just just if you've got space, cool, use it. If you haven't, be aware of that. And that's for me, that's the most important in speed perception, to be honest, speed control.
Now, I'm curious to like the different ways that you would stop. Like if we take a few examples, one where you have more space, more time. We have a different example where it's much more urgent and you need to stop suddenly or slow down right away. What would be the different techniques you would use?
So normally I try and do a natural stop, which is no stopping at all. I rebrail want to stop, and I just stop skating, and I'll carve, slow down, and just end up where I need to be.
The nice one.
But the second one is my emergency stop, which is also my get around quickly stop. So it basically means I can stop at any speed anywhere within sort of like this much stopping distance.
I need to learn that one.
It's a pretty cool one. But the energy that goes in, it breaks really well, but then you obviously get back up to speed. But for me, it's having that as a handbrake is amazing, because I know I can go as fast as I want almost anywhere and avoid any situation, crash. Like I can do a sudden stop or a sudden swerve. It's depending on child, wall, car, or what's around. But always be aware of your surroundings. So I've done this for many years and stuff. But touch wood. I'm quite good at controlling my speed.
Damn, I admire that. I wish I was able to like suddenly stop like that. And honestly, I think even if it's not as necessary in speed skating, or say even fitness skating where you do it in more, reliable surroundings. I think it's still very important to be able to do. Maybe not to the point where you would be able to stop, but just to have the skills to do it, because I think you can simply relax more.
This is it. If you've got the skills to stop you from a hazard, then you're going to feel more confident about yourself. And I think that's where the question with speed control, people maybe get scared with the speed and stuff like this. But if you've got the tools, the fear doesn't come in, right? Because you're like, I've got this, I can control it, and I know where I'm going. So this is very interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's a big part of being able to go faster, is being comfortable knowing that you can slow down from that pace. Especially like the amount of times where I've seen people get into the sport, I don't think they're as scared of like skating as they are, how do I stop? Like climbing a tree. It's a lot more, it's really scary if you don't know how to get down from the tree. And I mean, even, this is a good example, like I've skated my entire life, you skated your entire life, but you are more skilled when it comes to these stops. And things like the last time we skated together just casually through a city or a town, I do think, like I did notice that you are so much more relaxed at it, where I'm still like looking a little bit ahead. There's a sidewalk there. I need to be able, or to you're just like, you're more comfortable in that.
And that's just the thing, because you're so used to the big tracks and having all the space. I'm so used to a million hazards in one place, and that's short braking and stuff. And so when if I've got 2 foot, I'm fine. I can go fast, I can stop, I can go. And by having them tools, it makes me really, like you've seen, more comfortable with my speed control, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good key message, I think, to all the listeners out there. The different disciplines of skating can teach you different things that are valuable in basically all the disciplines.
For real, yeah. And I think to get a real understanding of speed control, you just have to go do some normal skating.
Yeah.
And some normal skates, and then you can almost have every aspect of it in there. But like you say, like with marathon skating, you've got a different version of speed control. With like street skating or park skating, it's different. And it's interesting. So what would be your best tip for people when working on speed control?
I would think it'd just be putting yourself out there in different environments, but doing little by little. So you're not gonna, you can overcome that almost fear by slowly developing the skills and knowing that you're comfortable with the different tools you have to be able to control your speed. Yeah. So for example, for me, I'm super comfortable going 80 kilometers an hour on inline skates. Yeah. But if the surface is a little uneven, I would be super, super nervous all of a sudden.
Got ya.
Because what if it's more of a downhill, then I don't know how to stop. What if it all of a sudden turns into different tarmac? Do I then feel comfortable? So just throwing yourself out there into different environments, teaching yourself how to control speed anywhere in any situation. Yeah, that comfort is just gonna make it better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one for sure. Yeah. So I suppose for me, like the most important thing with speed control is reading your environment. I think for me that's the most important. And so for me, I only start going faster when I'm skating when I know my route. And so I have near enough the same routes around the city that I do, but the more I do them, the faster I can get. And so I find knowing my route and my area is the best, which is probably similar to you. You know your track, right? Which is why you're able to get faster and faster, and then work on all these little bits to make yourself go around even quicker. And I think for me, it's about knowing where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going, you better make sure you got the skills. Yeah. And if you don't, chill out, take it easy, enjoy the ride. I think that's my point about speed control. I think.
I like that.
You got anything else?
I think that was it.
Yeah, sweet. Oh, we call it there.
It's a pleasure. See you for the next one.
Nice one. Cheers, Victor.